LearnBiz LLC is an entrepreneur coaching agency which customizes solutions to help businesses grow and thrive in an ever-changing economy.
You are listening to LearnBiz, the podcast, where we share an entrepreneur's journey and allow you to obtain insight into their path to success. We're here to educate other entrepreneurs about the ins and outs of running a small business, and we will provide you with tips and resources that can help you along your entrepreneurial journey.
Music selection, Midnight Silhouette by Devon Wright.
Thanks for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Well, hi, Shanda.
Hi, Lisa. How are you?
I am doing great, and welcome to LearnBiz, the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I think I would like to start with this question. Who are you?
Oh, wow. So I am Shanda Porter, the Mortgage Mogul. I am a wife, a mom of 3 teenage daughters. That pretty much sums me up.
That's who you are. And so let's talk about and get right into what do you do as an entrepreneur?
So I am a mortgage lender. This was my first venture into this entrepreneurial space. In college, I went to school for pre-med, go figure. So I'm not a doctor in the physical sense, right? But I now consider myself to be like a doctor of finances, basically. So what I do is personal finances, that is. So what I do is I am a mortgage lender with Success Mortgage Partners, which is based out of Michigan, and I'm based in Florida, and so that's what I do. I help people with the home financing portion of the real estate process. So I deal with the side that nobody really wants to deal with. I always joke with my realtors and say, they get the pretty side. They get the side that, that's like HGTV. They go out house hunting, they do all the fun stuff. And then the clients have to talk to me, right? And then we get deep down and dirty and detailed into the finances where no one wants to go. And so in that aspect, I'm kind of, if you want to say good cop, bad cop, I'm the bad cop of the transaction.
That is so interesting the way you describe that, because you have to tell people the hard code facts, the truth about their finances, where they stand, right?
Yes, absolutely. I have to tell them that about their finances. I never tell anyone no. Even my clients who do not qualify, I don't tell them no, because no is just such a harsh word, right? We all know it. It's a harsh word. And then if someone is really, really, really having a dream of owning a home and wanting to buy a home and, but maybe they don't make enough money, or maybe, they're just bombarded with a lot of debt. In that aspect, I have to tell them, okay, here's the situation, here's where we are, and here's what you can do to get to where you want to be. So that's kind of the way that I frame it. I never say just flat out no and, peace out, 2 fingers, call me later. I never do that. I do like to work with my clients, and I do like to, the most gratifying part is for someone who, when they first came to me, they weren't ready. And then they followed whatever the blueprint was for them. And then they went through that process and they did what they had to do. And then they come back and then they say, okay, we've done this. And along the lines, I'm following up with them. I'm checking in on them. How are you doing? How is everything coming along? Do you have any questions? Just so that way they understand that I'm here really holding their hand, but they have to do the work, right? And then, it's nothing more gratifying than seeing someone come from that and being able to, purchase and sign on the dotted line. That's very gratifying.
I'm sure that's very rewarding for you as a mortgage lender.
Yes.
Now, How did you get into the mortgage lending business?
You said, how would you, or how did I?
How did you get into
How
it?
did I? Okay,
Yeah.
so again, it was not by choice. And that's another joke. Like, and even with real estate, right? Nobody really goes to college and says, I want to be a realtor when I graduate, right? Um, Both of these professions, real estate and lending, you only have to be 18 years old. You don't even need a college degree to complete or to become to enter into this profession. Like I said, I wanted to go to med school. I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a pediatrician, specifically an adolescent specialist. I wanted to work with teens. I like teens, little kids, but middle school and up, I like that age group. And just the way that life fell, right? So I got married, when I was in the process of I had graduated from college at this point, and just in the process of doing like post baccalaureate work and trying to work my way into getting into medical school. And it didn't work out. Point blank period. It just didn't work out, right? And I was like, okay, I'm not going to force myself. So at the time, my husband and I, we were living in Boston, and he was in real estate in Boston. And so I was like, maybe I'll do that, right? I like it. It's flexible, right? You can basically make up your own hours. You can, as much as you put into it is what you get out of it, right? So everything depends on you. And so I was like, maybe I'll do that. And I was talking to one of my friends from high school, who she was a mortgage lender. And she said to me, she's like, Shanda, you're smart. You were always smart in school. She was just like, you could do this with your eyes closed. And she was like, let him do the real estate side and you do the mortgage side. So that way you're not competing for the same business, but you're complementing each other in the business. And I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, we had our first daughter, and then we knew that we were moving here to Miami. And it was like, okay, well, if we're going to move, then I need to show that I'm doing the same type of work. That I did know, in order for us to buy our house. And so in Boston, I worked in biomedical research at Harvard. And so what I did is I came here and did the exact same thing. So there was no interruption in my work. There was nothing. And I did the exact same thing. And I worked here doing biomedical research with University of Miami and Jackson Medical Center. And I did that for about a year and a half.
Okay.
And then when I got pregnant and went out on maternity leave with my second daughter, that's when I made the decision. And I was like, okay, now I'm going to do it. And while I was on maternity leave, I was studying, taking my classes, doing what I needed to do to get my license. And I never went back. And that was in 2004.
Wow. So since 2004, full steam ahead.
Full steam ahead since 2004. Yeah. A lot of bumps and bruises. I mean, I cover it up with the makeup, but a lot of bumps and bruises along the way. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, and it's a great rewarding work, like you said, when you help people. So is there something about your entrepreneurial journey since 2004 that's been most frustrating for you as an entrepreneur? Can you describe something in your profession along the way?
I would say what I learned quick, fast, and in a hurry was you work harder for yourself than you do for anyone else. Even though, like I said, I'm with a company, Success Mortgage Partners, but, and this is with any loan officer, with any particular lender, really, honestly, you are your own brand, right? So you're the one that's out there, that's drumming up the business, that's going out, that's talking to clients, that's talking to your business partners, your realtors, your title companies, your attorneys. You're the one that's out there doing that. So you're the face. And so you work hard for yourself, right? Because you want to make sure that whatever it is, whatever product that you put out, that you can stand behind it and you can guarantee your work. And so for me, I had to learn that very quickly because I was, again, of the mindset that many of us are under as we go through American school system, right? And it doesn't matter if it's public, private, it doesn't matter what school you go to. our school system and the structure of our school systems are all the same, right? We go to school, we get taught something, we regurgitate it back on a test. We take standardized tests to go up to the next level, to go to college and graduate schools and things of that nature. And so I was just never of the mindset of I was going to work for myself. It was always going to be, well, I'll be a doctor. I'll work at this hospital. I'll work in this practice, things that I saw around the image of being a doctor.
Yeah.
So it didn't cross my mind of, that I would be working for myself. And as a lender, like I said, working with any lender, you are working for yourself. Like, I don't have to tell them, oh, I'm going on vacation, or, I don't have to punch a clock when I come on, at 8 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock in the morning, or if I work at 10 o'clock at night. Like, no one is, clocking me in
That's
that
right.
way.
Yeah.
So even though, where I am, the pay structure, I get paid a W-2, but it is 100% commission. There is no base salary. There's no anything. It's whatever I put into it is what I get out of it. So I would say for me, that was a very hard lesson that I had to learn, and I had to learn it quickly once I got into the business. But I would say the crutch for me in the beginning was, when I got into the business, the market was on fire. Like, everyone thinks the market is on fire now. The market was on fire back then in 04 and 05 and 06. It was on fire, and it was also on fire with some crazy products, right? We had some crazy mortgage products out there. And so as a result, really, those were the products that kind of basically led us to the crash, to our demise in 08. But those were the products that were available. So back then, literally, it was, if you could breathe on this mirror, you can get a mortgage, right? If you have a heartbeat, you can get a mortgage. Like, the qualification process was not nearly as extensive and as challenging as we are right now. And
Very
so,
interesting.
Yeah, so it was really, so when I got in, it was kind of like, it's almost like, when you're a baby, you just can't feed a baby candy, right? Because obviously it's sweet. They'll think everything is supposed to be sweet. They'll never eat their vegetables, right? So for me, when I first got in, it was just like all candy. It was a sugar high. There was absolutely no substance and no sustenance to my business at all. So when the market crashed, literally, I also bottomed out, because it was just like, well, what do I do now, right? And I had to basically find my way and navigate and find other people who either built their business during the crash or had a business and they sustained the crash. Which, if someone sustained the crash, it's like, well, who are you? Like,
who are you?
Yeah, what did you do, and how do I know? How do I do it?
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And so that was basically my mission. I would say probably it started for me probably around 2010, 2011. That was my mission. Like, okay, who are the people that were back then on the other side and are still here now? So once I got to I would say around 2013, I literally had to learn the basics. I had to learn the basics of marketing, strategy, finding your niche audience, or, all the things that you would learn in business school, right?
Right.
Yeah, those are all the things that I had to learn, OJT on the job.
Right. You may not have had to learn them in the beginning, like you said, because you were on that mortgage lending high in 2004, but eventually it came back around full circle to Basics 101, sort of.
Basics 101. And in this business, and I would say for any entrepreneur, right? Any entrepreneur, for the most part, you're in some type of service or people facing business, right? And so there's no way around it. There's no shortcut. You literally just have to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
There's no, one of my mentors always says, one of my coaches, he always says, if your phone's not ringing, pick it up.
I like that. And speaking of all these shifts, like the ones you're talking about, with 2008, the crash, what about the pandemic shift? We had to deal with that, and there was the shutdown portion of the pandemic. Did your business feel any of that, or what did you go through?
It flourished, actually. It did the opposite of what a lot of businesses did. And, I thank God every day, because I'm just like, wow, because on some hand, right, a lot of people were feeling like, especially in the beginning when it first happened, many people were like, oh my goodness, is this another crash? Is this another, '08? Are we going to go through this again? And I immediately recognized that it was different. I knew it then that it was, and I guess that's because of my experience, because I was there in '08 when it crashed. Because in actuality, for those of us who were in the business in real estate, it actually started crashing for us in '07. So so I was able to look at what happened then and what was happening now and be able to say, this isn't the same, right? So what were some of the differences? The major difference was back in '07 and '08, it was the financial market that caused the crash, right? Whereas in this situation, it wasn't the financial market that caused the crash. In fact, it was the financial market that was sustaining us, right? The financial market, if you remember, like the markets, when we look at the business markets, Wall Street, and what the markets mean, the markets were strong in the beginning of the pandemic. What started to cause the uncertainty was just the uncertainty of not knowing what this was. But it was quickly recognized that it wasn't the financial market that was causing this. So as a result, those of us in the market could say, okay, what do we need to do now? Like, how do we move forward? And so obviously one of the things that the feds did to help us out was they dropped interest rates. Mm-hmm. So the minute they did that, then obviously automatically people started refining. Then, as well as the purchase market still kept booming. So one of the things that I started noticing also was another difference was in '08, when the markets crashed, mm-hmm. everyone was losing their jobs. It didn't matter what sector you were in. If municipalities and states, they were laying off, teachers and firefighters and police officers. I mean, if you remember, like a lot of people in what we would consider to be safe government jobs, right, were getting laid off, right? Like everyone was losing their jobs in '08. In this situation, it wasn't everyone that was losing their jobs. It was just I won't say it's a small sector, but it was the service industry, mainly hotels, restaurants, any type of service workers were losing their jobs because of person-to-person contact, right? You couldn't have that kind of contact because it was contagious. Yeah. So in that aspect, mm-hmm. those people were losing their jobs, but everyone else, really, your teachers, your police officers, they weren't losing their jobs. In fact, they were being summoned to do something different. That's right? True. That's true. So they still had their jobs, and so they were still able to purchase or refinance, which is something that people couldn't do in '08. Nobody had anything, so nobody could purchase.
Nothing to purchase or refinance.
Nobody could do anything, right? So that was the difference. And so for me, how I was able to thrive was because now I'm sitting in one place and going virtual.
That's a beautiful thing, huh?
It was listen, before the pandemic, I used to have people laughing, but I could be anywhere in the Tri-County area in South Florida on two wheels at any time, right? Going from one office to the next office, to this office, to that office, meeting with clients, meeting with realtors, meeting with business partners, just constantly on the go. And then in between, because what I do is more flexible than what my husband was doing at the time. So I was the one who had to drop off to school, pick up from school, take to this activity, take to that activity. So in between all of these appointments that I was having, I was also going back and forth to the school and picking up my girls and doing all this kind of stuff. So literally before the pandemic, I was on two wheels all the time, right? Yeah. Always in a rush, clothes, shoes, all different kind of things in my car because I'm always, being like Wonder Woman in the car, all kinds of
Mm-hmm.
stuff, makeup, all that stuff. And literally, when the pandemic happened, like I said, initially everybody was kind of like nervous, but
Yes.
then once things like Zoom and these different platforms came about to show us how we can expand our reach beyond the four walls of our office, once that was discovered, I was like, whoa.
You're
Okay.
sold. You were
Yeah,
sold.
I was like, hold on. This is how we doing this? Oh, this is great. I mean, so then I started closing loans in Tampa. I started closing loans, in up the east coast of Florida. So I wasn't just limited to
Love
just
it.
my area where I could touch people. Now I can see
You're
people just like this and
I
have a
love
meeting
it.
just like this. And with my clients, I would do buyers consultations just like this.
It's a
You can
beautiful
still
thing.
see me.
And
Yeah.
a lot of people don't want to go back to the way things were. Like, this is the new business model for a lot of people moving forward. And it sounds like it's working really well for you, this shift.
Yeah,
And
because it's
so,
still personable, right? Like
exactly.
we still can have a conversation. You still can
Exactly.
see my facial expressions. You still can see me. You can still can see my body language. You still can see if I vibe with you, if I don't vibe with you, if we vibe together, like whatever the case may be, right? We still can do that. And I don't have to deal with the commute time.
So, what tips, advice, resources might you share with those who might be looking to connect with a mortgage lender? How does one go about connecting with the right person?
Right. So to connect with the right person, i.e. me, Shanda, the Mortgage Mogul, you would just basically go to my website, www.themortgagemogul.net. But no, all jokes aside, when you want to embark upon purchasing a house or even refinancing if you have one already, the whole entire process of home financing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really, we're only analyzing four pieces of information: your income, your credit, your assets, and the collateral, which is the same as the property, right? Well, three out of those four things is what's within your control. One is not, right? The property, yes, it's a property that you may have chosen and you like it, but once you do the inspections and the home inspection and the appraisal, it may not be the same property that you want, again, because that's when you kind of go deep into, lifting the hood of the house and seeing to make sure everything works okay. So I'd like to say that one's not too much in your control. Yeah, you chose it, but the condition of it is not in your control. But as far as everything else, your income, your assets, and your credit, that's what we're analyzing. And basically, we are analyzing if you are risk worthy, because in the world of finance, that is how lenders think. They think and when I say lenders, I don't mean me myself. I mean the banks that hold the money, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, and the guidelines, everyone that holds the money. And I always tell my clients, he who holds the goal makes the rules. I don't hold the goal. I'm not making the rules. I'm just telling you what the rules are so you can accomplish your goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a matter of you being able to qualify and be as less of a risk as possible, because any loan to that bank that's given that money, that loan is a risk. Day one, it's a risk. Now, what level of risk is it? Where's your credit? How much income do you make? How much money do you have left over after you paid your bills? How much money do you have saved? All of these things help to soften the level of risk.
Mm-hmm.
So for a bank, that is how they think: is
Okay.
this is a risk? What level of risk are we willing to take? Some
Yes.
it's okay, some it's not. Well, do you have a history? Do you have a foreclosure? Do you have a bankruptcy? Any of these type of things are just added things that add to your level of risk. So you want to make sure that I like to tell my clients, you don't know what you don't know until
Right.
we find out.
But that's
Right?
the beautiful part, is that you can help them. So you take people as they come,
Yes.
as you find them, whatever
Yes.
their circumstances may be,
Yes.
And you help them. And even if they're not ready, the thing I love is that you work with people to get them mortgage loan ready.
Right.
And that's what I love. So if people want to reach you, if they want to connect with you, tell us all. I see one way, your website, but tell us some of the other ways they can connect with you on social media as we wind up.
Definitely. So I am on all things social media. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, on all of those platforms, you can find me. If you put in the Mortgage Mogul or the Mortgage Mogul SP, I'll pop up either in any of those ways. And then also, if you want to reach me by phone, you can reach me at 877-2 Mortgage Mogul. And that's 877-267-4645. You can reach me by email, and that's info@themortgagemogul.net. And that's the THEMRTG Mogul MOGUL.net.
Well, I tell you one thing, you make it real easy for folks to find you. And I love that part. And I have a feeling that there'll be a lot of folks wanting to make the Mortgage Mogul their next connection.
I should hope so. I'm here to help.
Thank you so much for being with us on LearnBiz, the podcast. We hope you'll come back again sometime and share more of your entrepreneurial journey.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me.
Music selection, Midnight Silhouette by Devon Wright.
Thanks for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.